Mr. Theos.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for the, I mean, you worked really hard on the presentation. You're lots of detail in the presentation. You're very passionate about the presentation, so, I really, I appreciate that. I'm not an expert in this area, and the reality is that when I've been on council for a long time, and it started off as global warming. But then, they were talking about global warming, and then all of a sudden, the suggestions were that actually it wasn't warming, and there was a cooling down period, and temperatures were rising. So it changed to this climate change, and I don't know, it's very confusing. But here's my question. You've got these labels potentially going on the gas stations. Mm-hmm. Do you believe in fairness? And if you do believe in fairness, then wouldn't you suggest that these labels, in all fairness, would have to be on almost every product that we use and consume today? Because the paper we're using, the clothing we're wearing, everything is made through machinery and manufactories that are the same. So, in fairness, is this the fair direction to go into? Or should we put a label on everything and then nobody's going to take anything seriously?
Oil has been a boon to society. There's no denying that. I mean, we have benefited so much from the use of oil for the past 100 years in plastics, in production. But I think we need to use it more judiciously now. And I think burning fossil fuels in transportation, such as cars, based on the size of the car, the occupancy of the car, which is usually one person per car, actually only about 4% of the energy in the oil is actually transferred to moving that person around. So we can do a lot better in that respect. So I think we're going after fossil fuel companies and transportation because transportation itself, in BC alone, accounts for 20 of this is on-road transportation, so cars and trucks that we drive. Not talking about planes and trains and whatnot. This accounts for 25% of our global, of our province's emissions, so it's huge. It's bigger than paper, it's bigger than fabrics and that kind of type of stuff. Although I do believe that we should be talking about carbon footprints of all sorts of things. But I think we're not using, we're using oil in a I would say, a reckless fashion in fossil fuel. And I know that's a strong word to throw around, because we have alternatives, and we have options, and we can make the car more efficient, and we can use an electric car. We have those things. We have buses. We have bikes. So we're labeling this because it is the most prominent use and reckless and harmful use of fossil fuels. They can and they should be used for other things in the future in a more carbon-friendly way. It's not just pumping it out into the atmosphere.